When I was in my later teenage years, I was beginning to spend quite a lot of time cooking. I used to cook for our local brownie holidays and at a retreat centre on Lindisfarne. The brownie holidays involved fish fingers and shepherd's pie for lots of hungry but fussy girls, and of course lots of cake. At Merrygate House, which was the retreat place, there would regularly be over 20 people staying, and they'd need feeding up to 3 times a day, depending on their programme. I have a vague memory that we did do cooked breakfasts. There was then a light lunch and an evening meal. And the meal rotated round very regularly. So we made vast quantities of lasagna, things like macaroni cheese and stew and baked potatoes. The things that were easy to feed lots of people. And there was always pudding. I've got an old recipe book that I wrote in, and it's got some of the Merrygate puddings of lemon round pie, apple custard, and I remember pineapple upside down pudding being a real favourite, all served with lots of custard. You do realise this was in the late 70s, early 80s. So easy ways of feeding lots of people, I'm sure some of you will be familiar with. It was always great fun, a bit hard work, and those who gathered round the table were very appreciative of what was cooked for them to enjoy as much being part of their time away. I'm not sure that the brownies were always so pleased with what they got. As we began our series on time for feasting last week, Ian reminded us that Luke has lots of different stories about feasting. Lots of different situations where Jesus gathered with a wide variety of people, not necessarily the ones you would expect him to eat with. And sometimes it was with lots of people, like today's story, and other times where there were just a few gathered, or in fact, Jesus invited himself to them. So today's is the feeding of the 5,000. We just heard the version in Luke, but you can also find slightly different versions with different emphasis in Mark and Matthew and John. And it's a story that many of us will be very familiar with. In the verses prior to this passage, Jesus had sent out the 12 disciples to go out into the countryside to do his work, but to take nothing with them. And now they've returned and are reporting back on what had happened. As so often happened, Jesus wanted to do this quietly, and so they withdrew, but the crowds followed. So Jesus continued to teach them and heal them. And then they were fed in this extraordinary way. Sometimes people try to explain it away by saying, well, those present had food with them, and only shared it when the boy got out his fish and bread. Is that really what Jesus was doing and teaching? Tom Wright suggests that what's really going on here is that we're all invited, just as the disciples were at the beginning of the chapter, to go out into the unknown with any of the things we'd normally expect to have, such as food and money. We're all called to go on a venture of faith. Not blind faith, not believing that Jesus can do tricks in order to make things happen, but to trust God completely, to trust him to feed us, to lead us, and to guide us in all we do. In a little while we'll gather at the table as we're fed with the bread and wine of the Eucharist, and where God's creative power is at work in us, if we truly believe and have faith in him, just as the feeding of the 5,000. You see, it's the story of a crowd of people who had little in common except that they were hungry. Hungry for food, hungry for healing, hungry for Jesus. And it's a story of a crowd of people who were fed. No questions were asked, no prerequisites demanded, no standards of holiness to meet first. It's a story about people who were shown that what they have is not the end of the story. In this story, we see Jesus addressing the most essential physical needs of his fellow human beings, of hunger, thirst, community, and breaking down every social constructed barrier that keeps us from eating with each other. And we need this in our world, where so many are starving and so many barriers are put in the way of feeding them. And we need to trust in the one who feeds and gathers us round his table. And we need to have the generosity in giving that we heard about in our reading from 2 Corinthians. I very much believe that story or rhyme, really intended for children, can help us all to reflect, perhaps in a different way. It's sometimes more accessible. You'll remember, I'm sure, the game or the rhyme, "What's the time, Mr. Wolf?" And I've found a version of that which helps us to reflect on this story from the Gospel. It's the amazing story of the slicing up of 5 loaves and the scaling up of the 2 fish. "What's the time, Mr. Shepherd?" asked his friends. Jesus said, "It's downtime because I'm tired. It's me time because I'm sad. It's rest time because we're tired. It's alone time because we're exhausted. It's us time because we need it. And it's time out and it's time off." "What's the time?" said his friends to the crowds, who answered, "It's still our time," they answered. "It's still story time," they agreed. "It's still healing time," they called out. "It's still listen with Jesus time," they chorused. "So it's get up and go time," they clamoured, and they ran after the shepherd. "What's the time, my friends?" said Mr. Shepherd. "It's time they weren't here," they replied. "It's time to say no," they agreed. "It's time to shut up shop," they asserted. Their time is up. "What's the time, Mr. Shepherd?" asked his friends. Jesus said, "It's their time," he smiled. "It's not just our time. It's always time for others," he giggled. "It's the story time," he laughed. "It's their time again." "What's the time?" said the friends to the crowds. "Is it snack time?" they wondered. "Is it lunch time?" they whined. "Is it tea time?" they moaned. "Is it dinner time?" they groaned. "It's food time," they all agreed. "What's the time, friends?" asked Mr. Shepherd. "It's time to go," they answered. "It's time they went," they insisted. "It's time up," they agreed. "It's time for home." "What's the time, Mr. Shepherd?" asked his friends and the crowd. "It's time to care time. It's time to share time. It's fish and bread time. It's God's time. It's more and more time," the shepherd declared. "So what's the time, Mr. Shepherd?" "It's picnic time. It's party time. It's play time. It's feast time." And they ate, and they ate, and they ate. "What's the time, Mr. Shepherd?" asked his friends. "It's pick up crumbs time. It's clear up the leftovers time. It's miracle upon miracle time. It's more than enough time. It's the best of times," he said. "What's the time, Mr. Shepherd?" asked the crowds and his friends. "Now it's home time," he said. "Now it's your time," he said. "Now it's will you believe it time, because it's time and time again time." When God steps into time, when God takes a little and makes it a lot, when God takes our moments and make them forevers, when God takes our lives and fills them up full, with plenty over, for now and at all time after time after time. A couple of things happening next weekend that are a bit of food related and that we need some help for. If you were here when it was Matthew's last service on the 13th, I read the banns for a couple called Ashley and Lorena. And they are getting married this coming Saturday. They travelled from Hull. They're coming with some of their family. But when they went back, they were so thrilled with the welcome that they'd received here at St Mary's that they said, if there's anybody around at 2 o'clock on the 9th, next Saturday, please come and enjoy their wedding. They also had gone out and enjoyed the cake and fizz. So they're bringing cake and they're bringing fizz. But if there were a couple of people who were able to be around to help to pour that, so it was there for the end of the service, can you have a word with me? But they'd be thrilled if you could. And then next Sunday afternoon, it's the walking treasure hunt, which Michael and some of his family are organising. You can come between 2 and 2:30 and pick up your sheet, register, and go off. It's about a mile or so around the village. And then come back, and there's afternoon teas. Afternoon tea starts from 2:30. And so there's likely to be more people around. So if anybody can help Natalie to serve that, again, come and have a word with me. And if you're able to make cakes, that would be fantastic as well. So lots of cake and tea and fizz and help, please, for next weekend. Tim included in the prayers Shine, which are the activity days that we're running for the last week of the school holidays at the end of August. Lots of help's needed, but also I think just getting a bit worried. I keep telling him, people don't sign up for things very early on. But I think there's no children signed up for it. So if you are aware of 7 to 10-year-olds, they're going to be around that week. It's free. It's between 10 and 2. There'll be sports activities, craft activities, all sorts of things happening. So please, there is, on the update, there's a link to register, or again, to get in touch with myself, Nadine, or Jack, and we can help you to do that. If you can help to be an adult at it as well, that would be great. Tomorrow's Sparklers is happening between 10 and 11:30. And then there are lots of things happening, mainly on Tuesdays, sometimes on Thursdays, at the Christian Centre. Remco sent me a poster, so that was in the update, but there's a copy of it on the board. And on some of those days, there's lunch, but I think you have to book for that. So again, look at the board, get the details, and get involved in that. Thank you.